Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk a little bit about wiring diagrams as far as it could be anything, but as far as it goes to into air conditioning. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and open my share here and make sure we have the right screen to begin with. Yeah, we should be right here. All right, you should be seeing a screen right now, and it really what I wanted to do, and this is I wanted to go over some basics of wiring diagrams because we really use a lot of them in air conditioning, and it's really important that you understand how they work. So let's go ahead and get going here. So it's really important when it comes to wiring diagrams that you understand certain symbols and this, what I'm going to be showing you, it really doesn't pertain to a specific vehicle. This is just a kind of like a generic vehicle that I'm going to be talking about. And some of your exercises are going to be pretty much on specific vehicles. So this is not, I don't want you to think this is the way all wiring diagrams are. So I want to make sure we understand it before we go any farther forward. So one of the things I do want to get into is some of the symbols. The symbols are what really can be kind of confusing for some students. But what would I want you to think of it as when you were looking at the wiring diagram from the top being the power source or the power part, whatever power is coming in, and then it migrates down to the ground source. So wherever it lays out in between is going to be like your fuses, it's going to be your relays, your actuators. All of this is going to go down this way. So if you can get that to where you understand that part, that's part of the battle. Because some people bring out the wiring diagram and they look at it and go, holy smokes, this is all generic to foreign to us. So this is where you need to start thinking. And we'll break down some of the other things as we go along. Let's see. So the components that I'm seeing right here on this particular diagram, of course, are very top here. I'm looking around and I'm seeing my power source coming in. So that's going to be like your battery source coming in. And then it goes in from through a switch into the actual fuses. So these symbols right here are fuses that you have in your place here. So then when you go down a little bit, you start seeing this arrow and this receiver type thing. That is a connection, okay? And as we go down, we see on this left-hand side another junction here, and then we have a junction box. So this not only feeds this part, but also it can feed off to another section here also. And then I come on down to a junction box, so a junction over here, or a connection, I should say. And then I have this symbol. This symbol is a light bulb. All right, this is a light bulb, and there, some symbols, if you look at some symbols, they might be more an S, but this is the generic form of bulb coming down to another connector, and then it goes down to the parking brake warning light that I have on this particular one. Kind of the same thing going down this way. This one actually it comes from a different source. So this is coming from another circuit. So you're going to get some things coming in like this, and you're going to get this type of kind of symbol here. And this was from a main relay. All right. And then it comes on down to a connection, and then it goes to a actual, this here is a diode that's in place here. And then it goes on down to the diode circuit. So whatever continues on is what we have here. And then on this side, we've got another fuse we picked up. And then you're going to see things like numbering, like a K14. Normally you'd see something similar to that over here. But we have a K14 is like the circuit number. And then we have the wiring size. and it could be in millimeters or inches, but more than likely it's going to be millimeter here. And then we have a color. So this is going to be a gray, okay, with a black, okay, and should be a black, I believe. Normally the black is BLK, could be a blue. This is kind of deceiving a little bit here. And we would have to go into a wiring code chart and figure out the rest of it like that. And then we go on down to the bulb here. And this symbol here is an actual switch that turns that bulb on and off. And it goes down to another connector, and it goes down to the low warning, low fluid warning light. And I went back. I kind of went back a little bit there. But here you can see some of the symbols that I was just talking about a second ago. Here is your connection, connector, and then your grounds. I've seen some of them almost like a Z, and then your bulb, and then I have a coil here and a capacitor, and then a little bit of a heat element going on here, and crossing wires. So instead of just connecting them across, that'll be a connection junction like this. We actually have a kind of going over and making sure I don't make connections. I will be showing some more as we go along, but I just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of that part. So, and then we have, tracing when it comes down to looking for a specific problem, like this diagram, it kind of shows the underhood power distribution as it goes across. And then you kind of notice that the underhood wiring harness junction block has dashed lines. What does this mean? What the heck does this mean? Well, that means there's more fuses and more feeds going out a long way. So we're just isolating on one section, one little circuit here. So this one actually shows an actual circuit 1, circuit 2, circuit 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So these are the connection numbers. Here we have a connector here, and we have another connector here. So these are the connector 4 number, and then we have a circuit number. So I got a 682 and a 623 over here. And then this one actually shows the connector color on top of all of it. So that gives you a little more clue of what that connection would be. And this really helps when you're tracing something down. The other thing, again, this is kind of showing the same screen here. The other thing is connectors. Connectors are really important because when you come to connectors, some of the connectors seem like they can connect to the same connector, but they might have a little offset to them. Like instead of being totally round, they'll have a little curvature or a little indent here on the connector, so you don't connect it with another connector. There are some connectors that will connect, and you have really huge problems. Now, that's where you have to really go by the color of connector and looking at the color of the wires. This is going to help you a little bit also. The other thing I wanted to point out on this slide, which is actually the pin. This is going to give you, okay, A and B on this particular one, and this is connector 4, and it shows pin A is the red color wire, and then we have the circuit number 862, I'm sorry, 682, and then it says the purpose is the battery fuse output, and then connector B, the red connector again, red wire again, is 623, and it's the battery fuse output. So this is just showing you a kind of connector here. If I go to the next, my next slide here, I actually have where the fuses are laid out. So now I can see, okay, I got fuse 30A here, and I got fuse 4, well, I should say amperage on this particular one. So that I can actually go to the fuse now, and I can actually find that out now. Okay, so these are protection fuses for that particular circuit. And then you can actually go in and identify them by the actual fuse number sometimes. Sometimes you just have to go by the circuit that's involved. And, like right here, I have ignition 1 and ignition 2. So those are my 2 fuses I was looking for. And then we have the circuit E on this particular one we're looking at. And again, it's coming from another section. Okay. And then we're coming on down. We're going through my AC fuse here. And I actually have a pin number A6 and I have a connector number C3. And then it goes through, and now I come out at a pin number A11. And then I have my C3 connector again. So it could be like the same, just looks like it's on 2 different sizes, but it's actually the same. And then we have, this is a millimeter, 0.35. It's a brown color wire, and it's heading over to circuit number 41. So they started off up here, and I had my circuit number 300, and I went through the ignition fuse for the AC. It would come out to circuit number 41 going to my actuator. And here, kind of giving you metric versus American wire gauge on this particular screen here. So yeah, this is something that's really, it gets really involved. I'm going to be giving you more and wire diagrams as go, but this is just kind of a basic overview. Hopefully this is helpful. If it was, fantastic. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will help you as much as possible. All right, that's all for now. Take care now. Bye.